Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the BBSim and Scalability Brigade for Friday, April 9. There is just one topic on the agenda for today's call, because we have two patches that are in flight and are a bit entangled one with the other. So I think it's important to get those merged, and we have some discussion to some points to clarify about those. I listed the patches here. I think the one that needs the most discussion is the one on the read-write core, and especially on the usage of the device adapter versus the device type field. Because in so far, we always made the assumption that the adapter name was the same as the device type. So the adapter supporting device of type OpenOLT was called OpenOLT. So this field was basically interchangeable. As now, since we are starting to support multiple instances of the adapter ID will be unique and will look something like OpenOLT-1-2, etc. While the device type, of course, won't change and will remain OpenOLT. Does it make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, like we should the device type per se. You can have one adapter that supports multiple device types of this or different types. So like that's where I put my comments there, in the sense of if we want to get a topic for a given adapter, it should be targeted with the adapter class, not the device type.
Yeah, I see what you mean. But on the other side, if we list the adapter type in the device, that will make our life trickier for the reconcile, because we don't know to which adapter that device belongs. So we'll have to reconcile all of the adapters of the same type.
Yeah, that's an API that we need. Well,
if we have an adapter that supports multiple device types, do we want? I guess, do we really want that? A, and if we do, should they have separate instances for each device type?
That's a good question. I don't think we have an adapter that supports multiple types now, even though the protocol lets you specify multiple types.
Yeah, exactly. Like we at this time it's really one-to-one, but the structure allow it to support multiple.
So if it supports multiple types, then that means when we're checking, does this support that? There should be a list of types that it supports. So we're still checking device type. It's just a list of types. I'm trying to figure out how that mushes with your comment about class, about adapter class.
Okay,
I still
so
think we would be checked. Yeah.
Okay, so adapter class denotes a class of adapters. For example, an OpenONU type of adapter. You can have multiple replicas of that adapter, but it would be one class of adapter. Like OpenOLT is a class itself.
Okay.
You can have multiple replicas, but yeah, there's one class of it. It's the same for ONU adapters. So they all denote, class denotes a group of instances of the same adapter, if you want.
Okay. Okay. So you still shouldn't be checking class then. You should be checking the device I'm trying to support against a list of devices that class supports.
A list of adapters.
So let's say the OpenOLT adapter actually supported OpenOLT as well as adapter type X, Y, and Z. Or sorry, device type X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
If I get a device of type Y, it's going to say I'm Y. And when I try to figure out an adapter that maps to it, I have to say, okay, which adapter class supports Y? And that'll give me the adapter class. And then from class, I get to pick an instance.
Yeah, correct. The only caveat with that is that logic is already done in prior code. So when you look at when you have a device.adapter, that already specify the class that this device needs to go to. That logic is already pre-calculated, if you want. And also when in adapter registers itself, for each device type, it says what adapter class it supports for that specific device type.
Wait. So when an adapter registers, says I'm adapter class X, and I support device types ABC.
Yes, and for each one of them, currently, it will say also the adapter. It will put its name there. So it's the device type dot adapter, it's a field. It's put its name there. So it's pretty much
So it registers for each device type it supports.
Exactly.
Okay. And so when a device comes in, it looks at that mapping and says, I need to grab this class.
Yeah.
Okay. Then how's this patch that's under discussion? Is that what this implements, or is that what you're trying to comment on? Your comments were on.
Yeah, that's my comments on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
so
you.
This patch makes some changes to the way adapters are stored, but as Ken said, we keep a mapping between the device type and the adapter.
And also, Matthew, like when it's comes to reconcile, you need to know the adapter ID, the specific ID, to send that request. There's currently an API that check if, like for example, you have an adapter X of ID X that went down and come back up. So there's an API in the library that you can say, like for this specific device, whether it belongs to that adapter X. If yes, then you can reconcile. If no, then you don't need to reconcile.
You're talking about this one.
Yeah, that's correct. You can use that one, or if it's more convenient to actually get the adapter ID based on the adapter class, then we can add that API too, as well there. Or just replace the current one with the other one. It depends which one is more convenient in the code.
Yeah, I think that my main question was coming from this method that is used to associate an adapter with a device. But I think we agreed that we should use that to associate a device, an adapter type to a device more than an adapter ID.
That's correct, because an adapter ID, for a long time we have used it as to denote the actual name of the adapter itself, but it could be a UUID, it could be anything. So we can't really use the adapter ID.
Yeah, so we should
and
use
internally, we might want to use a UUID anyway, because the adapter name comes from the adapter as it registers, so there could be overlap potentially. So in terms of our internal data structures, if we want a unique ID, we have to create it.
We are creating a unique ID that is not a UUID, but now the adapter create an ID based as the type plus the replica that they are.
Yeah, and that ID come from the adapter itself.
Right, so there's no guarantee that it's actually unique. Two different adapter classes could actually register the same ID. I could have two OpenLT adapters from different vendors, and I know vendors actually part of the attribute too, but they could be using the same IDs to register.
They could potentially, yes. There's a check there, like obviously on IDs.
Yeah.
That would fail. But I agree. If we have a UUID, that would be better.
But shouldn't the adapters just generate a UUID anyway? Then it would be unique.
The core can't trust any data from the adapter is what I'm actually getting at. Right,
Yeah,
it's uncontrolled code.
Yeah, okay, but all right.
Yeah, the point. So now there won't be an error if an adapter registered with the same ID, because the core will assume that in that case it's an adapter restart. So we may need to handle that, but that can be a separate issue.
Yeah, I think it should be separate. In any case, the ID between the adapter and the core, it needs to be in sync. Like you said, for the case of a restart, then we need to know which ID has restarted. So whether it's the adapter generating that UUID or the core generating that UUID, it has, if the core generates that, it has to be passed back to the adapter.
Yeah, because anytime the adapter restarts, it needs to pass the same ID.
Yeah. And that can be addressed separately because it's
yeah, that seems a separate issue. So regarding these, we just agreed that we use the adapter type to populate the device adapter field.
Yeah. And like I said in my comment, this file has, no, not that file, that's okay. It's the previous file. The adapter manager has changed quite a bit because of the latest changes by Kent. I think he's going to push it today. So then, then you have to remake your changes on top.
Yeah, I'll wait for Kent changes before merging this, and I guess Kent changes will simplify a little bit this change too.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, the other open patches we have to discuss. There is, of course, a change in the OpenONU adapter. This is actually fine. It's working. Everything is done. There is an example of how the adapters are creating the IDs and passing them to the core. We're basically reading these two new parameters and then generating the ID and the topic the adapter is listening for before creating an adapter instance and register it with the core. This is failing the test on Jenkins because it will need to run with the same changes in the core. Otherwise, the core won't be able to send messages to the correct topic. But a part of that is just sitting there waiting to be merged. We have a similar patch on the OpenOLT adapter. where we are just instantiating the library in the current way and registering the adapter with new parameters. The main difference with the OpenAny adapter is that the OpenOLT still assumed to run in a single instance, and so it keeps registering on the same OpenOLT endpoint as it is doing today. That is simply because we don't have the distribution functionality in the Python version of the library, and we are holding to add them there for two reasons. The first one is that one OpenAny adapter may be sufficient for the load we are targeting right now, that is 1,024 ONUs. And the second one is that the OpenAny adapter is currently being rewritten in Go, so we may not need to make those changes at all. We have a corresponding patch in the Helm chart for the OpenONU adapter that is creating multiple replicas of it. The way it is doing is actually to create multiple deployments, one for each replica. That is because we need to pass the incremental replica ID into the adapter. So while it's not the perfect way to replicate to scale up one item, I haven't found any better way to do this. David, since you are the king of Helm, if you have any idea there, or if you want just to take a look at this patch and review it, that would be appreciated. And the last patch that we have is Ken's patch that is actually adding the functionality to distribute the various ONU across different topics. I think this patch is ready to be reviewed, and I guess it can be merged when we are confident, because it won't affect anyone until the changes in the core and in the OpenOLT and OpenONU adapters are in.
Yes, in order for the components to use it, because this is all still in I didn't change the version there. I still left it as dev. For other components to use it, I guess I will need to update the version there.
Yeah, but I think it's okay to leave it as dev for now, because I had another change in the library that I haven't used in a while, but basically was to expose the backend we create in the config manager for the adapter outside, so that the OpenOLT adapter, that is not this guy, can use it instead of redeclaring a backend just for the sake of declaring it. Because we need the backend to instantiate the adapter proxy in the correct way.
Okay, as long as we're able to do tests with it in dev, that's I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I don't think we currently have automated tests for the libraries. That has been a long-going topic. I would really love to have some changes there, but I understand it may be very tricky to maintain it in a decent state. I'm also trying to hold a little bit more these changes until we get the core and OpenOLT changes ready to be merged, and then you can merge all of them together.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because we may need to require or tuning a little bit here and there.
Yeah, then we'll wait. I'll just, if that's okay with everyone, I'll just start asking a few more people to take a look at this patch. So if there are, sorry, not this patch, but this patch, I think we can start asking for reviews. So in case there are comments, we'll have time to address them while we still work on the core and OpenAny adapter.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. So I was kind of expecting this discussion, especially on the RW core, to take a little more time. So I don't have any other topic for this meeting. If there is something else we need to discuss, we can do that. But I'm really not aware of any other pending point. Is there something else someone wants to bring up? Okay, I'll take that as a no. So we can get some time back from meeting. Thanks for attending and have a good day, everyone.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
Matteo.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Have a good day. Happy Easter, everybody.